The small town of Greenfield was nestled between the towering ancient Stranglethorn Forest, named after the dense undergrowth and winding vines that seemed to weave together the immense trunks of the trees. Legend had it that the spirits of the forest protected the town from harm, but also punished those who sought to disrupt the balance of the woods. In the summer of 2022, two adventurous friends, Charlie and Alex, dared each other to climb the tallest tree in Stranglethorn Forest. They were both expert climbers and often boasted of their accomplishments. Charlie, a lanky fellow with a mischievous glint in his eyes, initiated the challenge. "Come on, Alex. What could go wrong? Let's climb the highest tree in Stranglethorn." Alex hesitated, but the adrenaline junkie in him couldn't resist the temptation. "All right, Charlie, but we do this carefully, all right? This isn't like climbing some city building." As they set off into the forest, the sunlight filtering through the thick canopy cast eerie shadows on the forest floor. After a long trek, they finally reached the base of the tree, an ancient behemoth that dwarfed all others around it. Its trunk was covered with thick layers of moss, and the twisted roots seemed to dig deep into the earth, grasping for sustenance. "Wow, it's even more massive than I imagined," Alex whispered, staring up at the tree in awe. "You bet. Let's get climbing," Charlie responded, rubbing his hands in anticipation. They started their ascent, navigating the complex network of branches and vines without any climbing equipment, relying solely on their skills and intuition. Hours later, they reached the top, panting and sweating, but filled with a sense of triumph. From their vantage point, they could see the entire town of Greenfield, the surrounding forest, and the distant mountains. They marveled at the breathtaking view, and Charlie laughed. "We did it! We conquered the Stranglethorn." However, as he shifted his weight on the massive branch they were sitting on, a loud crack echoed through the forest, followed by a series of snaps as the branch gave way. In an instant, the two friends were plunged into the canopy, the foliage cushioning their fall, but breaking most of the lower branches in the process. Dazed and bruised, they found themselves stranded in the tree, unable to climb back down due to the lack of branches. They tried shouting for help, but the dense forest swallowed their voices. As the hours turned into days, they rationed their meager supplies, hoping someone would come looking for them. On the third day, Alex was in despair. "Charlie, we can't wait any longer. If we don't do something, we'll die up here." Charlie hesitated before he sighed. "You're right. We have to jump. It's our only chance." They looked down at the forest floor, calculating the distance, trying to find a spot with the least amount of undergrowth, but knowing full well that the fall would be brutal. With a solemn nod to each other, they leaped from the tree, their screams echoing through the forest. The impact was excruciating. They lay on the ground, their limbs broken and twisted, gasping for breath. It was a miracle they were still alive. We made it," Charlie wheezed, fighting back tears of pain. "We're not out of the woods yet," Alex replied, grimacing as he tried to move. "We have to get back to town." For days they dragged themselves through the unforgiving forest, the pain from their injuries making every inch a battle. The forest seemed to grow darker and more hostile, as if the spirits of the Stranglethorn were angered by their intrusion. The once familiar chirping of birds was replaced by an eerie silence, broken only by the sound of their labored breathing and the crunching of leaves beneath their battered bodies. Their food supplies ran out, and they were forced to scavenge for berries and insects, desperate to stay alive. Their friendship, once a source of strength, began to wither under the weight of their circumstances. They would argue about the best route to take, or who should carry the makeshift crutch they had fashioned from a branch. One evening, as they huddled together for warmth, Alex couldn't hold back his resentment any longer. "This is all your fault, Charlie. You dragged me into this stupid challenge, and now we're both going to die." I didn't mean for any of this to happen, Alex," Charlie replied, his voice breaking. "I just wanted to have some fun. I'm sorry." The guilt hung heavy between them, but they knew they had to keep moving. The town couldn't be far now. On the 8th day, as they crawled over a ridge, they saw the faint glimmer of lights in the distance. Greenfield was finally within reach. Energized by the sight, they pushed through the pain, desperate to make it home. But as they neared the town, Charlie's injuries took a turn for the worse. His breathing grew shallow, and his face was ashen, He could no longer keep up, and he knew it. "Alex, you have to go on without me," he gasped, his voice barely a whisper. "Get help, and come back for me." "No, Charlie, I won't leave you behind," Alex protested, tears streaming down his face. "Please, Alex, it's our only chance. You have to go, now." With a heart-wrenching sob, Alex agreed. He pressed on alone, each step a harrowing reminder of the friend he had left behind. When he finally stumbled into Greenfield, he collapsed at the town's entrance, the shock and exhaustion taking their toll. The townspeople rushed to his aid, and he managed to relay the story of their ill-fated adventure before slipping into unconsciousness. A search party was quickly organized, and they set off into the Stranglethorn Forest, guided by Alex's account of their journey. But when they reached the spot where he had left Charlie, they found only a gnarled, twisted tree, its branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. There was no sign of Charlie, nor any indication that he had ever been there. The townspeople whispered that the spirits of the Stranglethorn had exacted their revenge on the two friends for disturbing the balance of the forest. Some claimed to hear Charlie's ghostly cries echoing through the woods at night, a chilling reminder of the price that was paid for their folly. And Alex, now a broken man, would forever be haunted by the memory of his friend. The weight of his guilt, a constant reminder of the horror that awaited those who dared to challenge the Stranglethorn. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.